Hey Fit Fam, it's Coach Rot from Team Flex. Today we're going to dive into the Vancouver Island Showdown. We're looking at Wellness Pro. So finally a CPA video. There's finally some pro comps going on up there that we can cover, and I want to look at Wellness Division today and just go over criteria with you, talk a little bit about why the placings landed the way they did and what it means for you as a wellness competitor at any level. If you're in the NPC, the IFBB, the CPA, this video will give you more insight into what you need to know to do your best on stage, and that's exactly what we're always doing on this channel. So if it's your first time here, first off, hello, and please make sure you pay attention, subscribe, because we got a lot more coming. All right, let's take a look. So these are our top three ladies here. We got Emily right here. She's our winner. We got Jasmine over here on the left, and on the right, we looking at Giovanna. Okay, so these are our top three wellness pros at this event. And really what we're looking at right out the gate, you can probably notice quite a bit of difference in what these athletes brought to stage. Okay, so wellness is still a new division in the kind of hierarchy of divisions. Technically been around for like 4 years, but you know, it continues to grow and evolve over time. And it's still new. It's still much newer than bikini is or figure is and something like that, right? So we still see a lot of athletes bringing really whatever look they want to bring within the criteria. So really big differences here, but a lot of similarities. Obviously, we look lower body. You can see Emily here. She's got, you know, glutes from the front. Every single athlete in this lineup does. Here's Giovanna, and then here's Jasmine, right? So glutes from that front pose, you got to have this. It's almost like that shelf type look is what I describe it at, where you really have a lot of glute development. So when you do this wellness front pose, you can see the glutes from the front. That's what makes wellness. If you had a bikini athlete do this, you're not going to see this to this degree at all, maybe not even at all, right? So it's a massive difference in wellness. And then obviously we got quad sweeps on all these ladies here coming across in that front, and you know, the waist tapered in. Everything is pretty similar there, but there's some big differences in how the muscle structure is, especially in the upper body. Okay, so let's look at Emily's upper body here. Okay, so we still have just a little bit of roundness to the shoulders, good fullness here, biceps, triceps all match pretty well. We got a little bit of lat width we can see, and it all tapers into her waist pretty nicely. Okay, so not over dominant up top, really key in wellness. And we'll look over here now at Jasmine. So Jasmine, to me, is coming with a lot of muscle. Okay, she's got a lot bigger delts at this point. You can see some harder, you know, deeper cuts in her delt at that point, coming into bicep, tricep. Her bicep, triceps look a bit bigger. You can just tell overall more muscle up top on Jasmine, right? Still got a good taper to the waist, still a good nice sweep from the lat, but overall a lot more dominance upper body. It makes her physique look more symmetrical to me, which in wellness is not ideal. You want to be asymmetrical upper to lower. And then we look over here at Giovanna, and you know, she's got almost the opposite look. She looks a bit too depleted in the upper body. Upper body actually looks too small, and it's great that we got this example of these three ladies right here where we can look at this and say, all right, this is all within wellness criteria. These are top three athletes at a Wellness Pro show. So keep in mind, all really great examples of the criteria. However, we have one winner that, you know, exemplifies it to a different degree that I think is a point worth bringing home, because that's going to be a lot of wellness athletes in the amateur level, right? If you're an NPC or you're in CPA, you might be dealing with coming in a little bit too depleted up top. Or what I'm seeing a lot more often is going to be too over dominant. However, Emily here, she really nailed this look, bringing in the fullness, that roundness that judges need to see, not over conditioned, not over striated, not over, you know, big in the upper body, and really let the lower body take the show. So we can see that here, you know, upper glute is very developed, overall glute is developed, quads are sweeping just like they want. No separations and striations though, like these deep hard cuts in the quads. You'll notice conditioning wise, you know, fairly soft, which is what wellness division conditioning is. You want to be on that softer level where you have the lines, but you're not showing the deep cuts, the graininess, the striations that you would see in other divisions like figure, women's physique, so on and so forth. Okay, now we look at Jasmine, and again, you know, we got a lot of glute development here, a lot of good quad, that's all good. A little bit too conditioned, I think, lower body wise, and we're seeing that upper body too, but really her take home for me here is that her upper body is too symmetrical to her lower body. You know, she does not have that disproportionate wellness look. She is very, very muscular. It's not a bikini look per se, but it is a little bit too symmetrical, I think, and that makes a big difference. If we look over here at Giovanna, right, a little bit depleted look in the upper body, so that still favors her to look, you know, bigger lower body, but she just does not have the muscularity, right? She looks very dieted, very depleted look. You can see her quads starting to feather here. You know, you can see separation in all the quads all the way through. You can see really hard oblique line. You can start to see the ribs here. You know, her abs have virtually no body fat on them. So, you know, she obviously came in very lean, kind of this depleted look, which means the muscle mass is going to look less full. And so she doesn't have, you know, the muscle in that case to stand up to the two ladies above her. And also she looks a bit too lean, right? Which is another place where that could score you differently. Now, from the back, we look, this is where we get to see a little bit more even how the criteria really exemplifies itself, again, in that very interesting context of these three athletes. So from the back, looking at Emily, our winner here, right, almost virtually, literally can just barely see the shoulder roundness. You can just barely see them coming through, right? So definitely not an overdone upper body. It's a really good indicator of a wellness physique. You still want to have a little bit of that shoulder. You still want to have that size. Remember, I always talk about that on this channel. You do not want to just ignore the upper body. However, you do really want to dial it into the ratio where your lower body looks over dominant, and that's what we're getting here. So you can see just how big her quads are by this sweeping effect on the outside. If you can see the quads from the back pose, you know we're talking about wellness. And the same goes on with the glutes. A lot of good upper glute development, good overall glute fullness, this slight separation between the glute and the ham tie, everything the judges want to see, and we can see that she's clearly got some good hamstring development as well. So this all comes together to say, all right, that is a wellness lower body. It is overpowering that upper body. She's still got what she needs up top, but this is clearly a wellness athlete, and we know that, you know, this is where it is. Now, the interesting thing here with the conditioning as well is, again, she's the softest conditioning in the lineup of these three ladies. So a little bit of that softer conditioning, you know, you still want to meet the mark with the tie-in, the little separations here, the slight separation, but you don't want to be overdone like the other two in this lineup, maybe a little bit lean. We're going to talk about that in just a second. That conditioning, though, that shows those lines, really allows the fullness of the lower body. That is perfect for wellness. So if you're taking notes, take that note. Now let's look over at Jasmine, okay? So Jasmine has, again, we talked about in the beginning, the front, a little bit overdone in the upper body, and I think that's clear to see here. You can see her shoulders kind of really full, really rounding out. You can see her triceps very developed. Everything here is very symmetrical in this back pose to me. Her lower body looks very large. It looks very done, but it's not over dominant up the upper body. I'm seeing, you know, a lot of what looks symmetrical to me. So that, again, can kind of throw off the look, I think, and is a big problem I'm seeing in a lot of the reviews that I've been doing. Is a lot of wellness pros are really bringing overdone upper bodies, and it's happening even more at the amateur level, right? It's happening a lot at the amateur level, mainly because of bad coaching. But looking at her lower body, you know, very big quads, very, very big. And, you know, that could actually hurt her a bit because it makes her kind of glutes look a little bit smaller, right? It makes her hamstrings just to look a tad underdeveloped, and it's really not because she has a ton of muscle, but the fact that her quads are disproportionately so much larger, that does not mean just, you know, better for wellness though, okay? You want to make sure in wellness that you have the balance between these three muscle groups. You have a good balance between quads, good balance between glutes, good balance between hamstrings, and they look symmetrical in the lower body. That is still the key. And again, that's where Emily really shows up nicely. We got the quad sweep, we got the fullness, it all matches pretty well. Now let's look over at Giovanna here. So Giovanna, again, more of that too lean, little bit depleted look. We're getting that in the back pose as well. So she has, you know, the tie-in, everything here, but this tie-in is coming mostly from her conditioning. Very, very dieted, very, very lean, really lean look, okay, that's pulling that through. It's not necessarily from the muscle fullness coupled with the proper level of conditioning. She's a little bit too lean, and I think that's the key. Also, just does not have enough muscle overall to stand up to the top two in this lineup here. You can see her quads, but they need more fullness. She lacks fullness there. You can see the glute shape. Everything is good there, but lacks fullness. And upper body here, you know, it looks really depleted from her front. It looks really depleted from the back. A little bit more shape showing, but her arms, you can just see how small, you know, really the bicep, tricep really is on her. So again, a little bit more fullness for her, a little bit softer conditioning could go a long way. For Jasmine, I would say, kind of tone down the upper body and work on the balance of the lower body. And for Emily, she really nailed the look. But I would say, if she's going to continue to advance in the pro league, probably add a little bit more shoulder development to herself. Clearly, though, that gets her the show win here, right? A little bit more shoulder, a little bit more lower body, kind of just advance the look she brought. But again, very exciting wellness competition, and it's good to see these three athletes, three totally different physiques that really do come out and showcase, and a great example of the criteria. Great job here, ladies. And it really does show us also what judges want to see and where wellness is heading in 2024. So that's it. That's what we're doing. I got more coming for you. We'll look at some more amateur comps in the future. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. And if you're watching all the time, please give me that thumbs up. Drop in the comments what you think. Do you like the way that Emily looks here? Do you think Jasmine should have won? Do you think Giovanna should have taken it? Let me know in those comments, and we'll be back soon. Thank you for watching. Coach Rye is out.